speakers from Standard for Official Statistics on Climate and Health Interactions, SOCHI, deans, directors, college registrar for the College of Education, faculty, staff, students, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. I warmly welcome you to the R.S. Amegashi Auditorium at the University of Ghana Business School, to the climax of yet another maiden event, SOCHI Climathon 2024, organized by the College of Education in collaboration with the Regional Institute for Population Studies and the Standards for the Official Statistics on Climate and Health Interactions, SOCHI. SOCHI Climathon focuses on the effects of climate change and health. And I'm proud to say our students have been busy engaging data to come up with innovative ideas on climate change and health. This is in line with strategic priority 2 of our new strategic plan, which is impactful research. And I'm happy our students have taken this initiative to already start working on this strategic priority. A former UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, had this to say about climate change. Climate change is the single greatest threat to a sustainable future, but at the same time, addressing the climate challenge presents a golden opportunity to promote prosperity, security, and a brighter future for all. I believe our students have a lot to share with us on the challenges associated with climate change. And I believe we are also happy to be here to witness what they have for us today. I would like at this point to introduce my co-MC who will be moderating this program with me, Ms. Abena Ofusua-Cranton. At this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I invite Mr. Rubin Kwao, a member of the SOCHI Climathon team, to do the opening prayer for us. Please, let's welcome Mr. Rubin.
Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for bringing us all here safely. We pray for a successful program. We know you have answered us. We thank you for an answered prayer. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwao. It is now my singular honor to introduce our chairperson for this very important program. Our chairperson has a bachelor's degree in French and linguistics from the University of Ghana and holds an MPhil and PhD degrees in linguistics from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, Norway. She has subsequently received additional training in higher education management and leadership from Harvard Business School and University of Applied Sciences in Germany, among others. Our chairperson doesn't like it when we prolong her introductions, but I'll try and be brief. She started her career in 2001 as a lecturer in the Department of Linguistics, became a senior lecturer in 2007, an associate professor in 2011, and a full professor in 2017. She's a seasoned researcher whose research interests are in linguistics sub-disciplines of pragmatics and has several publications in both nationally and internationally reputable journals. She has held a lot of administrative positions in this university as head of Department of Linguistics and as the founding dean of the School of Languages, pro-vice chancellor for academic and student affairs, and in October 2021, she made history by becoming the first female vice chancellor of this university. Needless to say, she has a lot of publications to her credit. She serves on various boards and committees internationally and nationally, and she's received so many awards. That is our chairperson in brief. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Professor Nanaba Apia Amfo, the first female Vice Chancellor of this university. Before she starts, I would like to note that you can nullify our initial welcome remarks. She is the suitable person to welcome us to this program. Thank you. Please. In this university without his participation. So we are grateful for your presence. The college registrar of the College of Education, deans, directors, and heads of departments who are here present, faculty, staff, and students, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the University of Ghana, and I'm elated to be part of the celebration of the climax of the maiden edition of the SOCHI Climathon 2024 on the theme Climate Change, Health Visual Analytics. This event has brought together brilliant minds to address the critical issues at the intersection of climate change and health. And it is gratifying to note that students of the University of Ghana are receiving training to contribute to addressing the SDGs holistically as they are connected. The SOCHI Climathon 2024
To the organizers of this Climathon, thank you once again for putting this program together. Let us continue to work together to create a better continent and a better world for all of us. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very
opportunity for our young ones to turn ideas into reality. And I'm confident that what you achieve here today will resonate far beyond this room. And so as we embark on this journey, I want you to take note of the following. First, that collaboration is key. And so don't be afraid to reach out, share your ideas, and work together. Because some of the best solutions come from the most unexpected collaborations. 2, think local and act global. And this is because the solutions we develop here are rooted in our local context, but their impact can and should extend globally. And finally, enjoy yourself. Because while the challenges we face are serious, remember to enjoy the process and in an environment where creativity and positivity flow freely. And so let me take this opportunity to express our appreciation to our partners, our sponsors, and our mentors who have supported this event. Your contributions are invaluable, and we couldn't have done this without you. And finally, to all the participants, and I can see that today we have a number of females, because my first interactions with you in the computer lab, I realized that most of our teams were all males. And I said, we cannot come and present these teams to the Vice Chancellor, because she will not be excited. So
judges and mentors, participants and guests, the media, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here with the pleasure to share the efforts behind the organization of the Climathon. Before I start, I would like to thank especially Professor Benjamin Dovier, the principal investigator, and the project steering committee for the confidence he reposed in me to chair the planning of this Climathon. Still in acknowledging people who contributed immensely to the planning of this event, I would like to recognize the contributions of my own team. In no particular order, I would like to mention Esther, mention Prince, mention Abna, mention Bridget, Mr. Nkansa, Dorcas, Dr. Akwa, Rubin, Gladys, and Mona Lisa. Madam Chair, the planning process began with a clear vision. We wanted to bring together creative minds committed to finding innovative solutions to tell the story about the impact of climate change on health through visual analytics. As we say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So there's no need speaking volume of words when an infographic probably can tell it better. To ensure a diverse and dynamic group of participants, we launched an open call for applications, inviting students, professionals, and climate enthusiasts from various fields. Each application was carefully reviewed, focusing on applicants' passion for modern computational tools and methodologies to create innovative and compelling data-driven stories. From an initial expression of interest by 40 groups, we were able to, by the help of our mentors and judges, and together with my own analytics. Though visual analytics is a rare talent today, our finalists have shown extraordinary commitment to deliver fantastic products that will be on the show. In our world today, I would like to thank everyone involved in making this event possible, from the organizing committee to participants, whose dedication and creativity would undoubtedly make a significant impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for giving us this message. So moving on, it's now time to introduce our guest speaker for the occasion. And our guest speaker is no other than Professor Alexander Ni Otudodu. So I'll give just a brief profile of our guest speaker. Prof. Alexander Ni Otudodu, who is the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, is a man of many parts. He is a Ghanaian pharmacist, an author and academic, a clinical pharmacologist, and a professor at the Center for Tropical Clinical Pharmacology, University of Ghana Medical School. Professor Dodu also serves as Director of the World Health Organization, collaborating Center for Advocacy and Training in Pharmacology. Only recently, he was appointed the Standards Ambassador to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat by the African Organization for Standardization. Beyond all this, however, Prof. Dodo does his best to serve the Lord in thought and in deed, and unsurprisingly, is a mass server in the Anglican Church. Please, with the standing ovation, please let's welcome our guest speaker, Professor Alexander Ni Otudodo.
Thank you very much. Madam VC, please sit down. When your boss is here, you have to put on your best behavior. Some corrections. I was an associate professor of clinical pharmacology and therapeutics of the University of Ghana. But they say I'm 60, so I have to retire. So, officially speaking, I'm a retiree. And to prove that, I've taken my retirement check. So those who want to visit me, you can visit me. So VC, I'm here on post-retirement. No, I'm retired from the university, but I'm on post-retirement contract at the Ghana Standards Authority till June 2025, when I will ask VC whether she wants me to come back and teach or to keep on causing trouble. So, Madam Vice Chancellor, our first female Vice Chancellor, whom we all appreciate really. Prof, my Ghana brother, Chairman of the Planning Committee, you made sure I was here. The man harassed me in my office. I had to agree to come. The principal investigator and the steering committee, and I own Prof. Gordon. Prof. Gordon came very early. Can't find, he's there. Prof. Gordon always sits somewhere there in every meeting, and there you make a mistake and he would have a small chat with you. So Prof, we love having you and we thank you for your guidance and impact. May you continue to guide us as you've always done. Now, having done the protocols and having acknowledged my big men here, I hope I have the permission to go into the issues more for the sake of the young ones, but also for the sake of our country. I think the first question anyone will ask is, does climate change have an impact on health? Would you say it does or it doesn't? Okay. I don't know what I'm doing here in the Climathon, but when I heard of standards, I thought maybe that's why, or maybe quality, or maybe because by law, I'm in charge of weights and measures for this republic. And I'm keen that weights and measures have an impact on whatever we do in this country. All about and making of data and generate. So I'm here to speak on all the above in 15 minutes, but to challenge all of us. Because one, climate change is all around us. We see it in everything we do. But in Ghana, we have made it more complex for two reasons. Climate change, it's a problem globally, but we have man-made environmental problems, from galamsey to potholes to congestion. So you are having unavoidable climate change on one hand, and you are having avoidable man-made, in fact Ghana-made environmental challenges like this e-waste all over the place. So if climate change is going to cause flooding, you are going to make the flood worse, because the water coming from there is toxic and can affect your health. If climate change is going to lead to floods and you live in the Galamsey area, you're going to have mercury circulating in your water, in your groundwater, in your borehole, and there I see in any other thing around, including the plants. So we are having unavoidable but preventable and completely self-made, made in Ghana. And its impact on health is dangerous. Let me explain. If you live in Ghana or most of Africa, traditionally we had endemic disease, communicable diseases. They don't go to comm centers, but they communicate because you are able to pass it on from one person to the other. Talk about your HIVs and other communicable diseases. But now, over the past 20 years, we're also having the challenge of non-communicable diseases, heart attack, obesity. So two things are killing us health-wise already. And now climate, artificial, and environmental damage, man-made. And all of that is going to have an effect on your heart. So we live in very dangerous times. And most of us will hear of the word VUCA, that the world we live in is V for volatile, U for uncertain, C for complex, and A for ambiguous. You just cannot predict what is going to happen. And actually, when I say this, everyone goes quiet. They think we are going to die. We are not going to die. And do you know why we are not going to die? Because of the young people like you. I think you must give a clap for yourselves. Because the solutions, or rather, the solutions that will transform our societies and make us great, are buried in the problems we are facing. Galamsey gives an opportunity for a young Ghanaian to change the world, his world and our country. So we have big problems, but the problems we have come with so many potential solutions that will change our life. But quite often, do we have the will to do that? Madam Vice Chancellor, your vision for the university comes in here. Universities, as ivory towers, as centers of learning, are free to challenge the status quo, are free to ask the questions that a politician cannot ask. We are actually charged to speak truth to authority and also to question things without asking whether it's NPP or NDC or whether it's Muslim or Christian. So, I'm very excited to be here. In fact, Prof, we are here to really change the narrative for Ghana. We have creative minds here. There are too many of them. They have innovative solutions. These will tackle the climate action. And anytime anybody says it cannot be done, I said we did it in COVID just 4 years ago. Young men and women came up with things. And we, as the Standards Authority, told ourselves that our job is to link academia to industry. So we took your products, certified them, and led you to industry. And I'm here to tell you that if you have a product at this Climathon, which has potential, it's kind of a prototype, we at the Standards Authority will partner you and provide free of charge the infrastructure needed to link it to the market. It may be that out of the 20 products we have, only one will succeed, but that one will transform 1,000. So we are here to look for both the successes and the failures, because built in these successes and failures are the opportunities to write the next chapter of not just our university or even our country, but possibly our civilization. In fact, you can make the difference. So let me highlight how you can use a lot of data. For starters, we are using national data, which is good. But in Ghana, we have too much data. I hope you are aware. And as Ghanaians, we miss the opportunity to use data. If I ask how many LED screens we have in this room, very few people will give me an answer without turning around to count. How many do we have? LED, the big screens. 0, 1. I mean the big ones, like this one. How many do we have? Okay, the answers are not coming, but there are 2. I'm just saying that there's too much data around you. There's too much information, and you can use it. And we are living in the world where it's not agric alone which is going to transform us. We live in a knowledge-driven world. It's the knowledge you add to the information around you that will make a difference. So really, I'm challenging you that let your data speak. Be creative and impactful on how you communicate. Because at the end of the day, it's about what we communicate, how we present value to society. We live in an age where no one has time to read everything. So, I'm going to throw a challenge to you again. As you look at your data and create the visualization, How many of you linked the impact of COVID to the size of Kinky? I know you're laughing. Look, when I joined the Standards Authority, I asked the young people that, look, the average size of Kinky in Ghana is very, very variable. So go around town and buy Kinky. They came back and I was blown away. One, they demonstrated that the most expensive Kinky was in Ashoma and the cheapest was in Osu. I thought it would be in Jamestown. They demonstrated that between each seller, the variation in the weight is so huge, which also explains why normally in the household, you eat one ball, your brother eats one ball, he says he's not full, then your mother starts beating him. But the science says that it's true. There is 33% variation between the same seller and almost 40% variation between sellers. And they show this by just plotting the GPS. They drew a map of Accra and showed, they use heat maps to show the more expensive Kinky. And as you got closer to East Legon and Ashoma, Kinky was more expensive. So I'm just telling you that you can make your data speak to us. No one is interested in intra or interstellar variation. But if they see small balls and big balls and they see dollar or CD, the message is sold. And we are challenging you to do that to change our lives. So at the end of this Climathon, they are going to come up with solutions. Like I've said, we are going to champion you using standards and the quality infrastructure. So I'm going to throw my last two since my 15 minutes is up. Whenever you have an academic, he's prone to talk. But when you have your vice chancellor and your seniors here, your talking is measured or else you'll be in trouble. I'll use one area which links to health, but in a way that you don't see. That is building and construction. If you look at the World Health Organization definition for health, it includes everything. It's not just the absence of physical infirmity, but the presence of employment, happiness, and food, shelter, and clothing are linked. If you are homeless, according to the WHO, then you are not healthy. If you are unemployed, according to the WHO definition, then you are not healthy. So if you are unemployed and you are homeless, then you are not healthy at all. Let me not say anything before I'm misquoted as a political statement. But these are the challenges. But in the area of building and construction in Ghana, we use cement a lot. I hope you are aware. Cement comes mostly from clinker. Clinker is imported, very expensive, and its production involves a lot of heat. Once you import anything into Ghana, you are affecting the climate because it's going to be transported. They are going to use marine gas oil to power the ships. It's going to come here, and of course, the rest you know. But in Ghana, we have clay, C-L-A-Y, which, if it's fired up, leads to what we call LC3 or calcined clay cement, which can replace up to 70% of clinker. In Ghana now, the Standards Authority working with industry has given approval for their usage, and the cement is the same: durability, strength, hardness. And we are hoping that now it can be adopted and it will replace. But now, how do you demonstrate that this intervention had an impact on health of Ghanaians and that it's worth continuing? And this is where you come in once again. So I want you to begin to build more and more visuals that show us what we have. You can literally plot where clay is in Ghana. You can also plot that in those areas they don't even have concrete buildings. You can plot how the solutions you are giving can change the question. So we are here to partner with you. And my last two slides will be talk about the bold solutions for the Ghana of today. Your visualization, your Climathon, your actions should be bold enough, should be challenging enough to change us, but it should be simple enough for we the retirees to understand and appreciate and adopt. We started as a country without having electronic health records. None. Zilch. From the 70s, we started initiatives to have national health information systems. Currently, I hear we are in DIMS 1 or 2 or 3. I've forgotten where we are. But still, our health information doesn't talk to each other. There are new technologies, and we now have the National E-Pharmacy platform, but it doesn't talk to the hospitals. Having said that, Some hospitals, including our dear own UGMC, is completely electronic. And indeed, we need to thank both the government and also the university for making that a reality. So we thank you for that. But now, the data in UGMC stays only in UGMC. It's not available at Kolebu. There are two things we need to confront: the governance and the policy to guarantee confidentiality. But for the young people, you want access to that data to know whether people living in Nima are more prone to get cancer of the whatever than people living in Jamestown. In fact, let's take one example. If we say that drinking alcohol, and it is true, can lead to liver cancer, you can easily visualize and see whether people who live in predominantly Muslim areas and so thereby are assumed not to consume alcohol to have a lower proportion of hepatic cancer or alcohol-induced diseases. True. Of course, that is a general statement because they don't live in Ghana. Nobody lives in the community of only Christians or Muslims. Yet they are friends. We live together. But in your visualizations, you are able to pick problems. We should be able to know whether people who live in, let's say, low-income areas are more prone to have kidney disease. In finding out this, it may be because they consume too much unapproved substances, whether deliberately or accidental, or because they don't have access to healthcare. In so doing, you are giving us tools that will help us transform our country. So we need a boldness to come from the young people, and I am personally looking forward to the outcome of this Climathon. I want to see the solutions you have, and I want us to take up the challenge. So, Madam Vice Chancellor, my concluding remarks into the challenge of providing solutions to this country. Quite often, bold solutions have come from the university's annual New Year school. And one can go back on, the current initiatives on gold and how it can be used for the economy were discussed in 2018, 2019 New Year school. So we do offer solutions, but quite often the uptake of those solutions by the wider society is, let's say, the lag time is probably unacceptably too long. Now, throughout history, universities are known also to challenge the status quo and to their society. So my humble challenge to my Vice Chancellor is this: Madam, charge us to show the direct impact we are making on Ghana. Not just in politics, but more importantly, in providing solutions. Solutions for road management, solutions for building, solutions for job creation. We can do crazy things, and I believe the benefits of university society is to be crazy, to dare to be different, to challenge the system, and to offer hope for the young people. Having thrown that to my boss, I'm also throwing a challenge to myself, the Standards Authority. We stand at the interface between academia and industry. We have the potential to create jobs. And as I said earlier, whatever products you come out with, please document and formally let us be aware. We will hold your hands, fund you, and support you to lead it as far as it can go within the laws permitted. So, having challenged my boss and having challenged myself and my organization, the challenge now is to you, the young people. I believe very well, and I've stated it already, that the problems we face, much as they are problems, are just a cover-up for the solutions and the innovations that will lead us into prosperity. Just like in times of old, when manna fell, it never came to anybody's room. It came outside a camp so that you wake up and go. There's a reason for that. You must be hungry enough to wake up and go and seek. If you read the Bible, they said you must go for the manna every day, except the day before the Sabbath, so that you collect 2 for that day. And why is that so? Without discipline, there's no freedom. And so that going daily is about discipline. But then we need to make allowance for the days when you must not go out. So you are never going to get anything in life coming free. No, you build it on a daily basis. And it must be a discipline. So I'm challenging you that you have the opportunity and the potential What you lack in this generation is the discipline to ensure that your dreams lead to success. But without discipline, nobody will be able to transform. We are counting on you to transform. We are leaning on you to transform. In fact, the transformation you bring is what will keep us alive and keep our country safe, happy, and prosperous. I wish you well, and may God bless you all.
That was very insightful, Prof. Duodu. Let's give him another round of applause. He has challenged almost everyone here, the Vice Chancellor himself and the team members. I believe you're going to work at it, bend the candle at both ends to be able to come up with the solutions that he expects, and this will take you very far. At this point, we want to relax and take a performance by the Ghana Dance Ensemble. Please, let's welcome the Ghana Dance Ensemble. Ghana Dance Ensemble. Let's acknowledge them once more with another round of applause. Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving closer to the reason why we are here. And so it is my privilege now to introduce our judges for the competition. I will be doing this in no particular order. First on my list, we have Dr. Jamaldeen Abdullahi, who is a senior lecturer in computer science at the University of Ghana. He has over 15 years of experience, and he specializes in wireless communication, intelligent systems, and IT platforms. Dr. Abdullahi leads research in smart cities, smart agriculture, and smart health, focusing on early cervical cancer detection using deep learning. He also consults on e-government projects for the government of Ghana. He is a senior member of IEEE and ACA. Please let's welcome Professor Jamaldeen Abdullahi to the platform. I continue with Mr. Joseph Kobna Bimpong. He's the head of data and analytics at Stanbic Bank Ghana Limited. He has been in banking since 2002 and has played different roles in tech project management and data analytics and AI at the strategic levels. He advises organizations on how to achieve targets of becoming data-driven, draw value from data, and embed AI operating model. His passion is coaching, strategic formulation, and seeing the young ones achieve aspirations. He's in the right hands, as you are aware. So let's now receive Mr. Joseph Kobna Bimpong to the platform. Analytics, MTN Ghana. He's a data science and analytics enthusiast with over 15 years working experience, spanning both the banking and fintech industry. He is currently the head of business intelligence and decision support for Mobile Money Limited. I thought you were happy hearing Mobile Money. Yeah. So he's head of business intelligence and decision support for Mobile Money Limited, a fully owned subsidiary of MTN Ghana. That's Mr. Solomon Hayford. While we wait for our third judge, I'll invite my co-MC to present the team members as well as the mentors.
Thank you very much. So as my co-MC mentioned, we are nearing the reason why we are here today. But before we introduce the teams, I would like us to acknowledge the mentors who tirelessly helped our teams to improve upon the products that they are giving, gave advice into how they should build their products and what they should put in and present as well. So in no particular order, I would like to mention the name of the mentors. Right, so we have Mr. Kelvin Wellington, who is the manager, data science, Stanbic Bank, Ghana. Please let's put our hands together for him. We also have Mr. Pierre Amoyao Barad, who is also a data quality specialist, Stanbic Bank, Ghana. We have also George Asari Otipo, who is a Data Support Officer, Stanbic Bank Ghana. We have Mr. Maxwell Edu, who is also a Data Scientist at MTN Ghana. Mr. Sedem Simako, Manager, Insights and Analytics, MTN Ghana. And Mr. Benjamin Papayangson, who is also a Data Analyst at MTN Ghana. We have Mr. Foster Ankara, Analyst, Business Intelligence, MTN Ghana. And last but not the least, we have also Dr. Issa Seidu, who is a Senior Lecturer at the Statistics Department, University of Ghana. We are so grateful for your support and the help that you gave to our team members. So without further ado, it is time for our team to present to us the products that they put these 3 days, whatever they've done, to show us what they've put together. So all right, so we would like to acknowledge the teams. When I mention your name, then you stand up and wave so that we see you. So the first team is Insights. We have Insights here. Please, let's give them a round of applause. The second team, we have Health Connect. Health Connect, if they are here. We also have Climate Crusaders. We have Team Brokod also, but with a lady. We also have Team IX. Are they here? No, yes. Also, we have Milachi. Team Milachi also here. I think they will join us very briefly. So without further ado, I would call upon my co-chair to give us the next item.
Co-MC actually. Yes, so at this point we'll pause for some group photographs because some of our dignitaries have other engagements and they will leave us at a point in time. So we are going to do some group photographs quickly before we proceed. I will invite the team members to come up and join the platform party for some group photographs. You can stay down here. The platform party will be up. Please line up. The mentors, please join us. Join the platform party. We actually have a banner, a photo. Yes. So we'll do this one and then move to the banner to take pictures there as well. Our photographers should come and please help us. Team members, please come up. photographers. Thank you very much. Please resume your seats. I will now hand over to my co-MC to line up the protocols that we have for the presentation.
Thank you very much. Right, so we'll wait for our participants to take their seats. So just to give a bit protocol before we start with the presentations. So each group has 5 minutes to present the product that they've developed. After that, we'd have questions from the audience, and then also we would have the judges also ask questions if they have any. We would like, when the group is called, we would like you to come up stage with your group members, except the one who would be in charge of controlling your slides as well. So without further ado, I would invite Insights, the first group, to come up and give us their presentation. Please, let's give it up for Insights. They are not here yet. Please, let's continue to clap.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All protocols observed. I salute all the dignitaries here. So, moving right in, we are Team Insights, and we are presenting on this topic. So, health infrastructure, a panacea for climate health challenges. From the data which we received, we observed that climate change, or as we would all know, climate change is something which has become a big topic now in the field of research and all, mainly because climate change has a significant impact on health challenges. So climate change is a critical global health of the 21st century. Now, rising temperatures and shifting weather patterns increase the risk of climate-sensitive diseases. Now, we realize that there are some communities that may be vulnerable to these climate changes, and especially because they have some form of weak infrastructure. So our study, or our study is looking at how shall I say, improving health infrastructure can build resilience against some of the health challenges which is posed by climate change. This well aligns with SDGs 3 and 13, which looks at good health and well-being and climate action. So we observed that climate change leading to a lot of health challenges does also have a socio-economic impact on the people who are affected by these health challenges. From the graph we can see here, we have private expenditure and we also have the government expenditure, or the expenditure which is made by the government on health and that which is also spent by people personally on their health. We realize that from 2015 up till 2018, people were spending more on their health than that's per capita, than the government was spending on health in itself. But from around 2018 up till now, there has been a significant increase in government expenditure on health. We can then see that the private expenditure on health begins to dip. Now, let's also keep in mind this chart will be of necessity because it's a key factor to what our finding is. From 2018 upwards, this is due to the COVID-19. When the COVID-19 came about, governments were now spending a lot more in their, on health infrastructure to build resilience against the COVID-19. So realize that there's a significant increase in government expenditure. So what's the purpose of our study? The purpose and the objectives. So to assess the impact of climate variables on regional health outcomes and to evaluate how health infrastructure and expenditure can influence or reduce the vulnerability of these regions. The questions we seek to answer are, firstly, what is the impact of climate variables on health outcomes? Then we look at the level at which the various regions in the countries are vulnerable to climate health issues. We then assess how the regional health exposure compares to infrastructure capacity of these regions. And by infrastructure capacity, we are looking at the capacities which some of these regions have to accommodate sick people whenever they need to. And then the last one we look at is how government health expenditure can influence regional vulnerability. So kindly take us to the dashboard. So while we wait on them, we realize that based on our findings, we see that the climate change does have a significant impact on the health issues of these regions. We see that in places, for instance, where there's a lot of high rainfall, most of them also experience higher malaria cases. So based on this, we came up with a vulnerability index that measures how vulnerable all these regions are with respect to their exposure to climate change. So when we look at the map to our top right, yes, labeled sheet 5, this measures the infrastructure capacity of each region, with the very red regions being the regions that have the most infrastructure, and those without being regions that have fewer infrastructure. And then below, we also identify in the blue map, we identify the regions that are more vulnerable to some of these, that's a heat map of our vulnerability index across all the regions. So the regions that have a deeper color are those that are more vulnerable to climate health issues. We see that there is a negative correlation between infrastructure and then the vulnerability of each region. For instance, when we look at our first line chart, which looks at our first line chart looks at the climate variables, which are rainfall and then temperature, how this affects the total number of health cases or issues in across the country. So we can see that the rainfall is the red, and then the rainfall is the red, and then the temperature is the light blue one. Now you can see that the total cases does move together with the climate variables. However, in the year periods when we saw from the previous graph that the government spent a lot on infrastructure due to the COVID-19, we see that even though the climate variables are still rising, there is a significant dip in the total cases. Now this goes a long way to prove that when the government spends more on infrastructure, or when we advocate that if the government is to spend more on infrastructure, looking at the regions which are more vulnerable, not just concentrating on population, as is usually done, because, for instance, Accra or the Greater Accra region may be the most populated region. However, from the vulnerability index which we have, it's not so vulnerable. So if resources are allocated only based on population, should I say advised based on population, then there would be an inequitable distribution of these resources. The final product which we come up with is the VID, which is the Vulnerability Insights Database. Now, this product is a comprehensive database platform which would provide actionable insights and actionable insights on vulnerability at district and sub-district levels. It would integrate diverse data sources to inform targeted interventions for resilient communities. Now, by predicting the vulnerability fluctuations, the VID enables government and stakeholders to optimize resource allocation and to support vulnerable populations. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. So now we would ask the judges if they have any questions for our participants or Team Insights.
Insight, good job done. You've done very well within the short time. I just want to find out whether your analytics can give us an opportunity to drill down to what is happening at the district level.
For the current analytics which we have here, it is filtered through to the regional level across the 16 regions of the country. But with further time, we can extrapolate it more to account for districts and then the sub-districts. This happened because we tried to incorporate the health expenses across regions. I mentioned we came up with a vulnerability index. We got data concerning the infrastructure capacity, the health sensitivity, that's the sensitivity of these communities to certain diseases. And then we also looked at the cost sensitivity, how well how exposed the people were to spending a lot more on health care. We aggregated these effects to give us the vulnerability index, but some of them were only available at a regional level. Therefore, we had to aggregate the sub-districts and districts to give us a regional representation.
Thank you very much. Do you have also a case where we can know how much expenditure made on each of the diseases that you considered?
That is possible. That is possible, but then it may not necessarily be on each disease, but we could look at on maybe classes of diseases.
Okay.
Maybe illnesses, injuries, pregnancies, something of the sort.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Team Insights, for this insightful presentation. You can take your seats now. Thank you. Please let's give it up for them as they go back to their seats. So the next team to also give us their presentation is Climate Crusaders. Please remember you have just 5 minutes to present, so do well to be within time. Please let's invite Climate Crusaders. Please let's continue to welcome them.
Good morning. Good morning, executives. Good morning, distinguished guests, and good morning, everyone. I'm Francisca Miliana Zonki, and I'm here to present on behalf of Climate Crusaders. So we are here to learn. Here to learn because when I got on the challenge, I realized that a lot is going on in this country. As we wait for the slide to show, I just want to let you know that yes, I am a Ghanaian, but I haven't traveled around Ghana to know what's going on and to experience what other citizens in the regions are experiencing. But anytime someone asks me, am I a Ghanaian? I say yes, I'm from the Volta region, and I was so surprised to see that Volta region has the highest record of malnutrition cases in 2020. I was very shocked. I was like, what's going on? So we decided to analyze the impact of rainfall on malaria and malnutrition cases in Ghana with the data set from 2020. So that's actually our topic, the impact of rainfall on malnutrition and malaria cases in Ghana. As we still, okay, so let's move. So our problem statement, I didn't know that there was something like that, and I was surprised to see that my region was top on the malnutrition cases. So we were like, the problem statement will be that there's lack of accurate and real-time correlation or something to show us that truly there's something going on with the climate and the diseases we have, in diseases cases we have. So we stated our problem statement to be lack of accurate and real-time insights on how rainfall correlates with malaria and malnutrition. Then now our solution, we said, okay, so let's create a dashboard that is going to show us the real time what's going on, what happened in 2020, and let's see what's going on. That's how come I know that Eastern region had the highest malaria cases in 2020, whilst Volta region had the highest for malnutrition. And we move on to the next. So in 2020, we were about 32 million citizens in Ghana, and 9% of that had malaria. 9% out of 100% may be filled or F, so it's not really going to be considered. But that 9% of this population, from our dashboard, says that they are in rural areas, who are the farmers who bring us the food for us to eat healthy. You get the relation there. So we have to keep them in concern. And just to let you know, out of this, we came out of, like, we could have a program, say the Health Watch, whereby we go educate them on what to do when it comes to rainfall season and all that, to know what they can do to actually prevent some of the diseases. Prevention is better than cure, you know that. So we move on to the next. So the link takes us to the dashboard to show the regions. Can we see the regions? Okay, then as we move, let's move on. Okay, so this is it. So Ashanti region topped the malaria case actually. Eastern region followed by Ashanti region, and then we move on to the malnutrition. So that's Eastern region topping with 300,000 cases of malaria. That's a lot. So let's see the malnutrition for Volta region as well. Malnutrition, the other one, no, the other, yeah. I think for the Volta region, the data was about 200 or 20,000. There's two somewhere. But to see that, and one funny thing is, you can see some line charts. We were thinking that, if it's raining season, malaria will be higher. But apparently, that was false from our data. When during the rainy season, there was a lot of malnutrition cases than malaria. And that was so surprising. I was like, it was we stagnant water and all that. So why is that? But anyways, there are other ways mosquitoes breed. So to come to conclusion, I think let's just go to. We are thinking that bringing up a program to, as I mentioned, bringing up a program to educate. That will be the basics. We'll start there. They will be aware that, we are in a region whereby if we take care of ourselves well, if we know how to drain our water to avoid flood and all that, we would know how to keep our crops growing and reduce malnutrition cases. So with my team and I, the Climate Crusaders, we say that it would be nice for us to educate others. I haven't traveled around the country So if I'm educating people, I'll even experience what they are going through and know how it feels like, because maybe I'm in my mansion and I don't know what's going on. But if I educate, I get to know that, oh, they are going through this, I can assist with this. And they get to know that people also care about them, because sometimes our health is mostly mentally. We can die before our time because we are afraid. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our presentation, and we are Team Climate Crusaders.
Thank you, Team Climate Crusaders, for your presentation. We would move over to the judges to give us any questions they have.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Going back to your dashboard, I think you had some interesting graphs presented. My only concern is how do we easily identify the analytics from the graphs? I think you had rainfall versus region, and bearing in mind what we are trying to do, we are trying to look at climate and then its impact on health. I think you have several graphs that you could have combined that will make it very clear and easy to see the impact from what you have done. I don't know if you have any reason for presenting it this way. Thank you.
So the reason may be an excuse, but I don't want to use that. There was a time constraint from our end, so we actually had to come up with the line graph of the rainfall for 2020, so the month, and then we came up with the line graph of malaria and the malnutrition for 2020, so monthly. And that's why it was like so this is malaria in December. So the highest malaria we had recorded was in December. Whilst I thought I really thought it would be during the rainy season. So that's where we did the analysis from. We couldn't go further into getting further.
Okay, thanks. What I was actually saying was that we could have combined some of the graphs so that you superimpose it on them. You can easily identify the relationships between the variables that we are looking at.
Noted.
But
thank you.
Plotting them this way doesn't give you the insights.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Crusader. So we would move on to the next team. We have Health Connect, Team Health Connect, to give us their presentation as well. Please let us welcome them as they come in.
Hello, good morning. So this is Team Health Connect, and we'd like to say thank you for this opportunity. So for our project, we'll be presenting on the effect of healthcare, the effects of climate change on the health of children under 5. So the question is, why did we decide to go with children under 5? There's a reason, because these children, at this particular age, they are very vulnerable, right? Their bodies are now developing, their immune system is also developing, probably very weak. So at this particular stage, they are just sort of prone to wide range of diseases, wide range of health risk. So we wanted to know these effects on them. Also, climate change has a lot of effects on food security. And you understand that if the food security is jeopardized in the community, that means that these children will be malnutritioned. Jeopardization of food security will lead to malnutrition, which is very dangerous, because these children need nutrition, because lack of this nutrition will lead to stunted growth, it will lead to malnutrition, it will even lead to developmental delays, and this can also sort of have a long life health challenges on themselves. And finally, climate change can also affect the water supply. If it affects the water supply, it will cause things like diarrhea. And we know, according to the World Health Organization, diarrhea is the third leading cause of death in children under 5. And according to research in Ghana, diarrhea is the 4th leading cause of death in Ghana. Next slide. Next, please. Okay. So as part of the parameters that we looked at diarrhea, we looked at anemia, we looked at stunting growth, the effect of the changes in climate causing diarrhea, anemia, stunting growth, and then underweight. So like I said before, in Ghana, diarrhea is the 4th primary cause of death in children under 5. Also, when it comes to anemia, 54% of the children under 5 were anemic. In 2019, In 2019, 54% of the children were anemic. Also, for stunting growth, for every 5 children that we take, 1 of them will be going through some stunted growth in terms of development. And then, when it comes to underweight, for every 10 children that we take, 1 of them will be underweight, which is a very big issue. So because of that, our objectives, the reason why we decided to go for this, and the questions that we are asking ourselves for this particular project is that 1, we want to find out the number of diarrhea cases compared to the cerebrospinal meningitis across the region. We also want to find out or want to understand how rainfall patterns influence the number of underweight children. We also want to understand how the trends in average rainfall over the years will impact the CSM. And then finally, we also want to understand how trends in rainfall impact diarrhea. So I'm going to hand off the mic to Kobe to continue with that.
All right, thank you very much. So please, can we go to the PowerPoint presentation? The Power BI. So my colleague has said a lot, and we wanted to make sure that whatever that we are doing, it's very, very user-friendly, and also it speaks to the data. And because we are dealing with stakeholders, we wanted to be as straightforward as possible. So you can see that we have our cards over here. That tells us about the total diarrhea cases, and that's about 5 million. And we also have the anemia cases, the stunting, and also the CMS, that's the cerebrospinal meningitis, and also the underweight, as it's being represented with some icons to also help you get that picture. Once you see it, you don't need to, it just comes like that. So with our first chart, we also wanted to see the total cases of cerebrospinal meningitis with regards to the district. So what we did with this was that we created a drill through so that not only will you see that of the district, but you can see that of the region and also even that of the sub-region as well. And we also did something. We also wanted to see the diarrhea percentage as to those under 5 and those, the entire population or the entire diarrhea cases. And you realize that in as much as we have 13 million people who are contributing to the age of diarrhea, you realize that 5%, 5 million out of the 13 is made up of just the children, which is very, very problematic. So we also did something on the stunting growth as well, and we also wanted to see a trend, to see what has been happening over the years in regards to the anemia and also the underweight. And you could see from the graph that anemia and there's a bit of increase over the years, but as we got to 2020, you realize that the total weight dropped significantly or dropped above the anemia, which is something that we need to look at and investigate why this was so. So please, let's move to the next. So the next slide or the next PPT has to talk about, we wanted to do, we did something on clustering, and we use K-means and Euclidean distance to be able to, what I'm trying to say is that we are trying to see whether there's a correlation between the underlying health conditions and also the weather. And with this, without even, we're just looking at it, you can see that when you look at the average rainfall and diarrhea, there is a chunk or there's a higher proportionate of people who have, or there's a relationship between the rainfall and the diarrhea cases as well. And within that, we are able to have 3 clusters for them as well. We also did something on forecasting because we are looking at weather. So we wanted to see that if that is the issue, what are we to expect in the coming years and all that. So we didn't only just look at the visuals, but I also did about something on forecasting where we looked at the upper bound and the lower bound with a 95% confidence level that whether rain or shine, we should be expecting, all things being equal, we should be expecting things around this range. And we did something on heat map to be able to see the diarrhea cases within the district. So we weren't, because we wanted to drill to the minimum or to the least to be able to understand what is going on. We did something with the district as well. So please let's move to the next slide. So this is something interesting that we have over here. So with the total anemia by region, we did not this time around have a through, but we also added what we call a slicing bottom, or a tagging bottom, where you can view or you can navigate from the underlying conditions. We have 3 here because we wanted to focus, or we wanted to talk about the 3 major, or based on the data that we have, the 3 major underlying conditions that speaks to it. So you can, once you click on anemia, you can toggle to see the anemia condition by region, district, and sub-district. You can move, so you don't have to be moving between pages and all that. You can see that of diarrhea as well, and also be able to drill through to the list, and you can do same for the other one as well. So we also did something. We also wanted to see. So yes, one thing to talk about is that when you look at the line chart, please go to the line chart. Try to toggle from the line chart. That's the trend of rainfall. So you realize that we wanted you to be able to know exactly what is going on. So as you are moving within the line chart, you are able to see which region and also the line and all that. And we did same for the clustering as well. So one will ask that with the clustering, which country or which cities or which districts makes up cluster 1 or cluster 2 or so on. So we're able to do that. So once you're even tackling with the clustering, you'll be able to get that as well.
In view of this, we came out with 3 policy recommendations. First of all, we believe that we need to strengthen the climate-sensitive health surveillance system, whereby the climate data will be integrated with health surveillance system. With this, we'll be able to have early detections and also know how to prevent certain diseases such as the diarrhea, CSM, and stunting growth among children below 5. Also, we believe that enhancing clean water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructure in regions with high climatic variations will help in curbing these diseases such as diarrhea, as my colleague stated. And then the third one is developing a climate resilient agricultural practices. In areas where there's drought and maybe excessive rainfall, which may cause drought, there should be systems in place where, let's say, there will be a sustainable land management to improve agriculture, so that children under 5 will not suffer from malnutrition or stunting, so that they will have enough nutrition from the crops that will be grown. In conclusion, our findings highlight the urgent need for integrated public health and climate adaptation strategies. By leveraging data-driven insights, policymakers can better anticipate and mitigate the health impact of climate variability on children under 5. This also highlights the importance of strengthening health system, improving water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructure, and promoting climate resilient agricultural practices to ensure food security. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Health Connect. That was very powerful. We'll move to the judges to give us any questions they have.
Yeah, thank you. could you take just 1 minute to explain your cluster plots, please? Because the cluster 1, cluster 2 was not actually conveying the message. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So as I said, so the clustering is, we use K-means, and with that we use the Euclidean distance, where Euclidean distance looks at points that are around you, and based on that, come up with those clusters for the underlying condition. So over here, you realize that in as much as we have groups for them, you realize that we have an increase, or there's a big relationship in general when you talk about the average rainfall and diarrhea, as we see over here. But when you look at the next cluster, you realize that when you are comparing, or when you are seeing the relationship between that and this, you realize that in as much as there is an increase, there is not a significant relationship or increase between that of rainfall and the cerebrospinal meningitis. So this was how the algorithm came up with the clustering. So it was an automatic cluster. So as I said, that's how it works. Okay. Okay. So.
Okay, thanks. I have 2 comments. The first one is that I think it would have been good to see how the shifts in the climate affects each of the parameters that we are looking at. So I saw that you have plotted the regions, and then you have shown the seasonalities. But for instance, if we are taking a particular region, let's say Greater Accra, and we are looking at a particular ailment, it should have been good to see rainfall patterns in Greater Accra to demonstrate the change in climate in Greater Accra, first of all, and how that change is impacting a particular ailment in Greater Accra. So if you are looking at malaria, I think it's not enough to just look at January to December and say that the pattern is high when it gets to December or lower when you are in June, but to also demonstrate the change in climate in Accra. I don't think that the climate in Accra has been the same every year. We are gradually seeing some shift, and so it would have been good to demonstrate the shift and draw a relationship between that shift and changes in health conditions for people who are residents in that particular location. The second thing was that I think you made some good recommendations, but it would have been good to have external insights, because what you have demonstrated here is insights just from the data, the patterns you are seeing from the data, which may not tell you the full story. So it would have been good to corroborate the insights that you have brought out from the data with other external insights to support your recommendations. I think that would have made the story a bit more complete. Thank you.
Yes. Am I allowed to ask questions? Well, so I'm also interested in your cluster. Take me there. Oh, you don't.
So please, let's go to our clusters.
Right? And these, you want to make probably mention 1 or 2 regions or districts, that are in a particular cluster. Okay, so 1 the deviations, they are very important. You don't just leave it, right? If you found one or two districts that are far away from everyone else, okay, what are these districts and what do the deviation mean? That's one. Number two, if it's a cluster, everybody will be interested in you summarizing to let us know that if we enter into cluster 1, this is the average rainfall, and this is the number of or average number of malnutrition cases that we are talking about. Then you can pick one or two, mention one or two districts in the clusters. This way, so you do that because if we have X number of districts in a cluster and something happens to one of them, there's a likelihood that because they are in a cluster and they share almost everything same, it may happen to the other. So I think you did well, except that you could have done more on the. You want to?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So for the class training, as my colleague rightly said, we based on the factors such as CSM, the cerebrospinal meningitis, and the other health factors and the rainfall. So it was able to detect the relationships between these variables. So we realized that certain regions such as the upper east, the western region and the western north, they had higher drought, rainfall, as well as diarrhea. So you can see there is a kind of relationship. So we have groups where they experience high drought, high rainfall, as well as the moderate diarrhea or high diarrhea here. So these are the groups here. So we have other groups that experience higher diarrhea and higher stunting as well. So there's a linkage between these variables. And also the first question that he asked about the regions, the question he asked about getting the trend for, let's say, Greater Accra, I think we have it. So when you select the slicer, for example, when you select Greater Accra, you'll be able to know the trend of how Greater Accra, so you see, when you select, you get information for that particular region. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, does anybody have a question in the audience? I think maybe we'll move on to the. Provost has a question for you. Please hold on.
Mine is actually not a question, but I was really excited with the way yours looked more like a hands-on thing, isn't it? That so I can go into the system and then I can be able to, do some of these things. So I just want to commend you for that.
Thank you very much, Provost. Thank you very much. So the next team to present is Team Brokod. I'd like to invite them to the stage for them to give us their presentation. Please, let's put our hands together for them. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, picture this. Amidst the vibrant and bustling streets of Accra, Ghana, Monday morning, heat, temperatures are rising, you're sweating, all in the midst, just rush and get to work. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the SOCHI Climathon 2024. This is Team Brokod. Slides, please. Our journey is to delve deep into the heartbeat of this connection, exploring how Ghana's climate weaves its influence onto the fabric of occupational health. Looking at the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, we are focusing on the 3, 8, 10, and 13, which talks about climate action, good health, and well-being. Next slide, please. Approximately about 1.6 billion workers are exposed to UV radiation, with more than 18,960 work-related deaths annually from non-melanoma skin cancer, and about 860,000 work-related deaths among outdoor workers annually, mostly due to air pollution. This data is by the International Labour Organization. Next slide, please. A problem statement. Ghana faces challenges from climate change affecting the health and well-being of the workforce, to the rising temperatures, erratic rainfall patterns, and increased extreme weathers. But there is always a but. But there is limited information on the relationship between these conditions and ways to mitigate them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our primary objective here, our quest, is very simple, is to examine the ways in which Ghana's climate is influencing occupational health. To illuminate our path, ladies and gentlemen, we crafted 2 innovative solutions to help us on this path. I'll move on to my teammate to take us to the next segment of the presentation.
Thank you very much. So, based on the information that we had, we decided to build 2 main products. So the first one that we have is the dashboard, and then our AI visualization assistant. Because one of the most assumptions that we have is that a picture is worth 1,000 words. But then if the person does not understand what he or she is saying, there's no relevance to the person. So because of the internet connectivity issues, we decided to record a video of how our sites look like. If you are done in the still time, you can go to the platform itself and then demonstrate how it looks like. So I'd like to walk us through. So these were the data sets that we used. So from the data sets that we provided, there were lots of data sets, but then we selected these ones in particular, and then we consulted to other external data, one on P25, which measures the quality of air, and then the carbon dioxide emission. So all these data sets were selected specifically with regards to the criteria set by the International Labour Organization when it comes to climate conditions and then occupational health. So we'd like to walk you through the video briefly, and then if there's time, then we'll show you on the site itself. Right, so as you can see here, when you come here, we decided to use the power of AI and then generative AI. So when you come here, right, because we have the data here already, you just go to what you want data to do for you. So you ask it to visualize for you, and then it will do the visualization for you. Now, once it has done the visualization, it will then, based on the graph that it has, give you some findings and then some recommendations. And then you come to the dashboard, you see the information that we have here. So we have OPD malaria cases, diarrhea cases. So here on the left side, there's a filter. So you can filter based on what you want. So if you want, the reason why the graph is looking messy is because it's doing for all regions, but then you can select specific regions and then it will do the plots for you. And then here we have the relationship between P25M and then occupational health. So we superimposed some of the data on the other variables, and then we do the display for you. And the beauty about it is that once you ask it to visualize for you and you're done, it gives you detailed description on what the graph is about. So that even if you are struggling to establish a relationship between the graph, the AI system, so we use the GEMMA model, which is a model developed by Google, and then we use it for that. So we didn't build a model from scratch. It's a pre-trained model that we just used to do our product. So we'd like to continue with the slides. So based on our findings, these are the key recommendations that we have. So policy and institutional support. So we feel like it's high time that the government should have policies for institutions, because mostly when we come to companies that are more concerned about the profits that they're bringing in, but they have little to no regard for the health of their workers. And for any company to thrive, it depends on the health of the workers. If your staff are not healthy, there's no way you can make money. And then there should be climate resilient infrastructure. So I think our guest speaker was speaking about that. It's high time we move away from some of the things that we do. So now you see some of the countries are moving towards electronic vehicles so that we reduce the carbon emission and all of that. I think these are all ways that these are things that we can also bring to Ghana as well. And then we can also collectively come up with ideas that we can use to mitigate heat, because heat is also affecting occupational health. Because as we established earlier by the International Labour Organization, we realized that a lot of outdoor workers were suffering from skin conditions. And in Ghana, most of the informal sector work outdoor. So in conclusion, we realize that climate change, as we say, is a global problem, and it has diverse effects on everything, especially in occupation. So we feel like, based on these recommendations and then our product, we can come together as a country to develop innovative ways that we can solve this. So because we have time, we'd like to do a quick demo of the site itself so that you see how it looks like in real life. So if you can go to the link and then we'll walk you through. So this is how it looks like. So when you come here, we have the various data sets that we use. So we have CO2 emission, health, workforce, occupational health, population, rainfall, temperature. So you just ask it what you want it to do. So here we say, let's say visualize carbon CO2 emission. And then when you're done, you ask it to do it for you. So you have to specify the type of graph that you want. So here, because CO2 emission is for the information that we got was on the various years, you ask it to do the graph for you. And then here, you can clearly see the CO2 emission so this is for Ghana across the various years. So we have from 1990 through to 2020, and you can see there's an upward trend. So it's like every year, the CO2 emission keeps going up. So when you come down, you see it gives you some insights. So it tells you that the magnitude and range of change in emission, potential outliers or patterns in the data, and then it gives you the findings. So basically, this is our product. Thank you very much.
Right. So thank you very much, Team Brokod, for your presentation. We'd head right to the judges to give us any questions they have.
Team Brokod, well done. So the example you gave about CO2 emission that plot the graph, is it possible that I give your AI an instruction to plot the graph of CO2 and its impact on health occupation?
So it depends on the availability of the data. So if there's a data on that, then you can ask it to do it for you. But when we were collecting the data online, we realized that for the data sets that were provided by the SOCHI team, it was for various regions. But then the CO2 emission data that we got online was just for Ghana. So it was from 1990 to, I think, 2020. So if you have an external data that you like to probably supplement with our data that we have already, when you go to the browse files, just as it's showing, you can also import your own data and then you ask it to do the visualization for you.
So the data you have is only CO2 emission?
No, so we have a lot of data.
Because I wanted you to, I can see on the side, you see you have CO2 emission, you have,
so we have
occupational health. So if you have these, is it possible for you to give, or you don't have data on occupational health?
So we do.
But there is no link in the data sheet.
Yes.
There's no link.
So the reason is that when you come to the CO2 emission, as I was explaining earlier, the CO2 emission is for Ghana in general. But then the occupational health data that we had was for the various regions. So if the occupational health data that we had was aggregated for Ghana, then we could have done that as well.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Team Brokod. So, first of all, I am very big on recommendations, right? Because my understanding about the work that data scientists and data analysts are supposed to do is to churn out insights and so that decisions can be taken from those insights. I'm not too sure how and where we can get recommendations from your platform. Recommendations from your platform, that's the first thing. And then also, it's okay to use generative AI, to sort of help you scale and all of that, and deliver things on time. But then my question to you is the data quality, because one of the things I know about generative AI is the fact that it's as good as a data set, that data accuracy and all of that. Did you factor that in the way you structured your data, such that the recommendations or the insights that the tool would give us would be as much accurate as possible? Do you understand my question?
Yes, please. I got it. So the data that we had, the various factors was from the SOCHI team. So we had the credibility. We were sure that it was coming from a credible source. And then the one on CO2 was from the World Bank. So we picked our data from credible sources. Because as you said, if you give the AI system garbage, it gives you garbage. So we made sure that the data that we were using for our products were coming from relevant and credible sources. I don't know if that answers your question on the data.
And then you want to touch on a recommendation?
Please, can you come again on the...
He was asking about the recommendations.
Yeah, so it all depends on the prompt. So if you prompt it, then based on the prompt that you give, then it will give it to you as well. So it's an AI system, so it's the data that you have, you prompt it, and then it gives you what you want from it.
My comment is on the visualization. I think it didn't have a climate appeal. It looked a bit dry to me. I didn't see if I'm comparing this with the other presentations that have come so far, they try to incorporate something that has some nature or something in relation to the environment, so that the presentation would also speak to what we are trying to achieve.
Thank you very much for that. We will take that, we put that to notice, and then we'll work on it. Thank you very much.
I'm not supposed to ask questions, but I'm asking all the questions. Okay, so you used NLP. Well, a good solution, maybe some will say ambitious, but how intelligent is your NLP solution? Because, of course, if you are talking about the large language model, it works on prompts. Do you get it? So I realized that in the first place, the first time you tried it, the chat didn't come, because I don't know whether your NLP works on predefined sets of prompts. Are you getting it? So if the question is asked in a certain way, it's not going to give you anything, right? And so all of this must be specified. So the solution is fine. You've done very well, but you have to be, you have to know the limitations of some of these solutions, because then with no manual, no guide, nobody will be able to know how to use the solution. Yeah, thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Team Brokod. Please let's give them a round of applause for their presentation. So we would have the last presentation from Team IX. Though they won't be presenting a PowerPoint, but they are going to demonstrate how their dashboard works and what information they have for us. Please let's welcome them.
Good morning, board. Good morning, distinguished panel of judges. Good morning to everyone here who came out to support us. Today we want to, I'm Louis Leron Badu, and I'm speaking on behalf of Climathon Team IX. Today we want to talk about a critical, often overlooked factor, which we are all, one or another way, contributing to, which is climate change. And according to World Health Organization, by 2030, we will have 250,000 additional deaths per year due to malnutrition, due to diarrhea, and then also due to malaria, which is very alarming because 2030 is within our lifetime. Now, we apologize for not presenting with the PowerPoint, so we'll dive straight into the data sets and give you a bird's view of how it looks like. So we picked the temperature data set, and from the exploratory analysis that we did, which gives us description of the data, which describes the data sets that we used. From the temperature data set, we realized that a lot of the regions had their columns with 0 values, which indicates drought and lack of rainfall. Okay, and then from the rainfall data set, from the temperature, we had temperature ranges between 2.3 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius, which suggests significant fluctuations linked to seasonal and climatic changes. Okay, from the rainfall data set, we had high proportions of zeros in a lot of the columns of the regions, which indicates drought. Okay, and then from our ONS diarrhea data set, which has columns on diarrhea, on cases that were recorded in our healthcare systems, we realized that the extreme skewness, which shows the distribution of the data across the region, shows that there are disparities in health outcomes. Okay, and then our last data set that we used was the ONS data set, the data set itself, which shows high proportion of zeros, which indicates potential data issues and disparity in healthcare. So now I'll hand over the microphone to my colleague who will dive into the dashboard and then give us deeper insights.
Thank you. My name is Richmond Alexander Kwe. So when you check the dashboard, we calculated the total malaria cases, which is about 251.1 million cases, and we have total diarrhea cases, which is about 12.6 million cases, and we have the total malnutrition cases, which is 226,933, and then we went ahead to calculate the total anemia cases. Okay, so after that, we tried plotting temperature against rainfall to at least get the difference between temperature and rainfall, because of course, even though they have similarity relationship, they are not actually the same. So we tried getting the total number of we try plotting the temperature against rainfall to know the total number of the effect of temperature on our country and the effect of rainfall on our country. So from there we went to the impact, temperature impact on every region, and from our dashboard, it shows here that Eastern region has the most impact, and Ashanti region, Eastern region has the most impact, followed by Volta region, then to Bono region, and then there was a flat between Savannah and Upper West, and we went ahead to calculate the record for rainfall by region, and I think someone spoke about that earlier, but so the record for rainfall by region, Eastern region is still leading, followed by Western, and there's a gap between Bono and Central, and we went straight from the rainfall to the malaria and healthcare systems. Sorry. Okay. So here we try relating the impact of health on our health system, and we use scatter plot to do this because we were using Excel. So we use malaria as the only health issue to make things short, and we plotted malaria against the healthcare system, the total people admitted in the hospital. It shows here that per our data, it shows here Ahafo region has the highest amount based on the data set that we have. Ahafo region has the highest amount, and the total number of people that are admitted at the hospital is about 364,694, but the total cases discovered was about 34,381,595 based on the data sets that we got from SOCHI. So from the plotting of malaria against health systems, we went to the top 5 regions, yes, which shows here as indicated earlier, and from there we went to the top 5 regions with high under 5 sickness rates. So there was a column that spoke about the under 5 sickness rate, and we took the opportunity to at least visualize that to know whether it's affecting younger ones as well or it's just affecting the elderly ones. So with this data set, Ashanti region again is leading with diarrhea and anemia, followed by Bono, Central following, and Eastern region and Western being last. And from there we went to the admission rate for malnutrition cases. We also believe that climate change impacts the health system through vegetation. Of course, when there's no rainfall, you don't get the necessary vegetation or vegetations that you need to cook to get the nutrients for your food stuff, for your food and so on. So yeah, we plotted the admission rate for malnutrition cases, and it shows here that Ashanti region has the highest malnutrition cases, and they are being rated. Ashanti region has the highest admission rate. Volta region, having the highest malnutrition case, has about 1,108,606 being admitted, but their total case is about so 42,832. So 832.100. So okay, so my time is up, and even though there are other dashboards, there are other visuals, we are going to give this out for them to upload, and if there are any questions, we are here to answer it, please.
All right, thank you very much, CMXI. Please let's give a hand of applause for them for their presentation. So we'll move on to the judges for questions.
Okay, thank you. One of the things that I know about visualization tools is appeal. Like when you look at the tool itself, you might not necessarily even want to go into the data and analyze it. I mean, it looks appealing, and I think that's one of the things that I find to be a minus, because the screens were not visible enough. I just couldn't see anything. That's one of the things that you would want to work on. And then also, I mean, presentations. One thing that I also know about presentations, are that you rather would speak to the presentation as opposed to the presentation speaking to you. You were reading, and you can imagine just calling out figures and all of that in management reporting and all of that. Nobody would take you serious. So I think that's also something that you would have to work on. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So, in your analytics, is it possible to show us a relationship between the temperature and any of the disease conditions you've stated? Have you been able to do that, relate any of the climate variables to any of the disease conditions you have analyzed? Is there a relationship?
Yes, please. There is.
If you can show us.
Kindly zoom in a little bit. Zoom in, if you can. Okay, so yes, this is it. So we try to plot, we try to graph the impact of temperature on health, and in this case, we used diarrhea, malnutrition, and diarrhea as but it's so okay. So if you check very well, you can see Ashanti region leading the graph with total diarrhea cases, and we have Eastern region following Ashanti region with total diarrhea, high diarrhea cases, and the temperature level wasn't stable. It was in motion, of course, and
hold on a bit. This data, was it an annual data?
Yes, it was.
An annual data, like
yes.
a particular,
it was
a particular
taken,
year or several years?
5 different years. So it was taken, the data set was taken in 5 different years. So we extracted this from the climate data set.
So is this data 5 years? What you are showing here, is it representing 5 years or is it representing a particular year?
So it started from 2000 to 2000. It started from 2000 to 2000 and 2022. Yeah.
Okay. So, so looking at this graph, are you confident in telling me that the temperature of a region has impact on diarrhea cases?
Not necessarily. Temperature doesn't necessarily have impact on diarrhea cases when you check in this graph.
So if you probably can say this, you plotted this and you saw that, and yet you still had to present it. If
Yes,
you are confirming that there's no correlation between the two instances, why are you presenting it?
In this case, we want to know if maybe temperature has, so we actually plotted it against malnutrition and diarrhea. So we wanted to know how effective is temperature, or how impactful is temperature on these 2 diseases. Initially, that was, we chose 4 diseases, sicknesses. We chose diarrhea, but we decided to narrow it down because of time and because of some few issues. So we just plotted it against malnutrition and diarrhea.
So I guess the challenge we have is the data that you have used, right? Because what I know also is that the more your data, the better your outcomes, right? If you do analysis on just 2 years data, then really the outcomes or the insights you churn out might not be something that is concrete enough for anybody to depend on, right? So I don't know the extent of research that went into this and your understanding of what was at stake. Because as I said early on, all these things we are doing is supposed to help us to take decisions. So the volume of data you use and all of that, the quality of the data, all of those things, your understanding of what the expectations are critical. Because if you don't understand it from that perspective, you will mislead everybody. You are telling us there's a correlation, or for example, there's no correlation between rainfall and temperature. How do we believe what you are telling us? Do you understand? So let's have this as a takeaway, that in future, if you find yourself in any other engagements, let's look more of the quality of the data, understand the work, know that you need more data. Because you are using an algorithm to, it's not anything manual. You are using an algorithm to scale the processing of the data. So the more the data, the better your outcomes. But in this case, we don't find that. So those are my comments.
Thank you.
Please let's give them a round of applause for their presentation. So thank you, teams, for this insightful presentation you've given us. Now we are throwing the question to the audience. Does anybody have a question or a comment directed to any of the teams? Kindly put your hand up and the mic will come to you so that we can go through this session. Any questions, any comments to the team members?
Thank you so much. I think I'm preview to all the various presentations that have been made, and I think it's a good exercise, and we are using graphics, or let me say infographics, to be able to, explain whatever issue is, and then find recommendations, or let me say the solutions to it. For the last team that presented, that is Team IX, I'm thinking that coming from the spatial angle, it will be very good if you are trying to explain the impact, or let me say the relationship between the various sicknesses like the malaria and then the other sicknesses in relation to climatic variables, temperature and then rainfall. It's very critical if you are able to come from that angle too, because all I saw was more of like point or probably linear graphs to represent that. And I think the person who was also presenting it didn't give a very clear understanding between the various variables and then the sicknesses itself. So in a way, I'm thinking there should be a better understanding of what he is trying to present, and to really give a better recommendation on that. I also saw Team Health Connect. Yes, that's the effect of climate change on children under 5 years. So I think they also have a very good output, and then in a way I'm thinking the data source is very critical too, because I don't know the main source of the data that they came up, used. I don't know whether it's the same data source that was given to all the various teams for these analysis. It's the same. Yeah, so the reliability of the data is very critical, because as we are using AI. AI makes things very easy for us to be able to, interpret
and then how we can really get ourselves connected to solving solutions, brought up by these kind of climatic variables. So it's very, very important if we are able to have very reliable data source to be able to help us, connect to the direct impact on the ground. So these are some few comments I can make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your comments. We have any other question or comment to give?
You should be asking questions.
All right. So for me, first, I'd like to congratulate the team for doing well. For me, I didn't see how they go through the whole process from the data processing, why they choose a particular data set, what are the challenges, and even the assumptions that were made in doing all the work, basically. So I think that has to also come out clearly.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another question here.
Thank you very much. Team members, thank you very much for the insightful presentations. I have a question for Team Insight. They in their presentation, they spoke about health infrastructure. And then in one of their graphs, they demonstrated that Upper East region has the highest infrastructure. So I want health infrastructure. I want to know what variables do they use to present to make Upper East region having the highest form of health infrastructure. And then in one of their graphs too, I realized that Upper West region was the least vulnerable comparing to the other regions. So I was wondering, when it comes to climate change, the three northern regions are more vulnerable as comparing to the southern sector. So I was a bit surprised Upper West region was the least vulnerable region when it comes to health vulnerability. I don't know the kind of diseases they use in their analysis. So I'll be happy if I can be educated on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for your question. And to answer that, you have rather made it an inverse. It was rather Upper East is very vulnerable, and then they had the least when it comes to infrastructure. Yes, please. So with the charts presented, you notice that we had two of them. We had the red one above, that was the vulnerability, and then the one below was the infrastructure. So you realize that with the vulnerability, that's where they were shaded very deep. So that's where they were, with the vulnerability, that's where they were very deep. That made them very vulnerable. Because when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to the vulnerability, we considered infrastructure, the climate, and then the health sensitivity. We had indexes for that calculation. So just to be clear, we have probably just mixed that up. And if possible, we can share it with you so that you can verify. Thank you.
My name is Jean. I'm with Business Analytics Access 2024. So I have just a suggestion. So I think what I realized was that they were trying to solve a lot of problems with the graphs. But I was thinking if maybe you can find one particular problem you would want to solve, it would be easier. For example, looking at the relation between temperature and malaria, what I know is that the lesser the temperature, the lesser mosquitoes tend to thrive. So in that scenario, in a colder environment, there will be less cases of malaria being recorded. So like, how would that help Ghana? Like a very specific problem that once you put out a solution, like it's more practical. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
My name is Richard. Also, like he said, I was thinking the diarrhea is caused by a lot of, for example, when you take enteric pathogens, virus, rotavirus, norovirus. It causes diarrhea in cakes. So me, I wanted like be selecting one diarrhea case. I mean, a pathogen that causes diarrhea. For example, when you take dengue fever, they select climate change affects dengue fever by when we have a lot of floods. It breeds the Aedes mosquitoes, and this causes, you can see the link. So I wanted diarrhea. Okay, this season, because there's a lot of rainfall, it affects, because when they take the diarrhea, for example, the norovirus or the rotavirus, when mothers are weaning their kids, they realize that there's a data that shows that the kids are more prone to this disease, which causes the diarrhea in these kids. So I wanted a very clear link between this, the climate change, and also the diarrhea, and the specific diarrhea, the pathogen that is causing it, not just diarrhea, I mean broad.
Right, thank you very much. Are there any other questions?
Thank you very much. I'm SOCHI, and it's a comment. So looking at all the presentations by the groups, I realized that most of the group presentations centered on the visualization aspect, and there was less solutions or what we can do to solve the kind of issues or problems that arrive from the visualizations. So I think moving forward, we can also try to bring up more solutions, not just looking at the data aspect, but then when you find out the information from the data, what can we do to make sure, or what can we do to ensure that the issues we find out in our visualization and data can be solved or can be made better to improve climate in general. Also, I noticed that the time allotted for their presentation was too short. We noticed that most of the groups had a lot to explain, a lot to tell us, but then the time constraint was really short. So probably in the future we'll look at that and then we can improve on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments and your questions. Do we have any other? All right, so I'll hand over to my co-MC to continue with the next session. Please, let's give her a round.
We are going to take that again for our team members. All of them deserve a round of applause. It's not easy to burn the midnight candle to put things together, ideas together to share. Let's give them another round of applause. They have all enlightened us, as we are aware, but you and I cannot judge. So we'll leave the judgment or the verdict to our judges. We'll soon invite their spokesperson to come with the results. But before we do that, let's relax and take another performance from the Ghana Dance Ensemble.
Right, thank you very much, Ghana Dance Ensemble, for that wonderful performance. So we are waiting for our judges to collate their marks and then also present the winner, the first runner-up and the second runner-up. And again, we want to congratulate all the team members for the tireless work they put in. It wasn't easy. I mean, just be given a short amount of time to give us this presentation of these products was amazing. Please let's give them a round of applause. Right, so we would like to say a big thank you to Stanbic and MTN Mobile Money Ghana for helping us and also partnering with us on this project. Please let's give them a round of applause. And a special thank you. And we also want to give a special thank you, a big thank you to our partners for the project, Office for National Statistics, UN, UK, which is the ONS partners for this project, and then also the College of Education for the project that we are currently on. Please let's give them a round of applause. Right, so still on it, we would also like to thank you very much for your presence. It wasn't easy getting everybody here since vacation, so we want to say a special thank you to being here or being present at this occasion. Please let's give yourself a round of applause. To our media personnel as well, we want to also say a big thank you for your attention or attending to our invitation. So I would like to call my co-chair, my co-MC, sorry.
Thank you very much, Anna. Yes, we'd like to make a little change in the program. For now, I would like to invite the platform party that is in the come back to their seats. And our Vice Chancellor, as we are aware, has to be excused to be able to attend to another important program. And so we are privileged to have the Provost of the College of Education, Professor Samuel Lee Abiudo, give us the closing remarks on her behalf.
Thank you very much, Madam Director of Public Affairs, University of Ghana. So as she rightly said, I will give a few closing remarks because we believe once the judges announce the winners, there will be jubilation and all that. So it would be better to have the closing remarks, then have the announcement of the winners, then we can all jubilate and take photographs to end the session. So thank you very much. Well, to say a big thank you to the organizers of these very, very fantastic events. I have really enjoyed it in terms of the kinds of teams we had and then the diversity in the issues that they all dealt with. I believe they all deserve one more round of applause. We are very grateful to all of you, young men and women, for making yourselves available to come prepare yourselves over the past few days for this competition. I know it has not been easy. It's been a lot of hard work, maybe sometimes overnight, but you all agree with me that it has been worthwhile coming. We thank you for your participation. We also want to say a big thank you to our distinguished judges. I'm sure they are now very busy collating the results and eventually would give us our winners and the other winners as well. So we are very grateful for coming and doing this for us. I think they also deserve and indeed for all of you that have spent money with us. I know we all have busy schedules. but we are here, so we are very grateful to have all of you. So after all these acknowledgements, let me share a few things that jumped at me. So the first thing I want to mention is, you remember where the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority made his remarks. He mentioned that the authority will be willing to champion the marketing of any of the products that may come from this Climathon. So I think this is really a step in the right direction that we should take up. So the eventual winners or any products that are deemed by the judges to be worth marketing, the Director General has assured us that he and his outfit are ready to do that on our behalf. So let's give them a round of applause. We also heard from our chairperson, Madam BC herself, who showed their appreciation to all of us and to all the sponsors and the various teams that participated, and her also support for this program. So we are also grateful for Madam BC. I think there were very interesting presentations by the teams. As I said, I was excited by the diversity in some of the topics and issues you all looked at. There were very useful questions and comments from the judges, from all of us, and even from the audience, which really made the entire thing very exciting. And for me, I had a few issues that I reserved to make once I come back here. But one main thing that I would have also loved to see is, because for most of the presentations I saw, I thought you dwelt mainly on maybe a single climatic variable, isn't it? So for example, rainfall, maybe temperature. I don't know if there was data on heat and all that. But I was thinking, could there be, for example, a composite climate variable? Could you have combined a set of the climate variables to actually term it as a climatic variable? Because as it is, what you had was either maybe rainfall and temperature and the others. But could there be a way, would your data allow you to have a composite or combine some of these climatic variables to then look at their effects on some of the health outcomes that you have? I don't know if that is possible, but I would have really been excited if any of the teams could have done that. Then I also heard from the audience that the time was too short. Okay, that the time was too short. Because I believe some of you were, I think the teams were given 5 minutes to present, although I realized that almost all of you used more than 5 minutes. But this issue about time is too short, I want to stress a bit on it. Okay. I don't know if you are aware of what we call the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is a statement. Okay. We call it elevator pitch because, assuming you enter an elevator and then you meet maybe a top policy maker, let's say the Minister of Finance or the Minister of Health, okay, or there's the Director General of Ghana Meteorological, are they authority now or they are still? But assuming you enter an elevator with all this work you have done, and you have some findings that you want to communicate to the Minister of Health, okay, and you are moving from maybe the first floor to the 5th floor, or maximum 6th floor. So all that you have is the time, that short time you have with the Minister, and that probably could be just about a minute or 2 minutes, okay. What are you going to say to them or him? So that's what we call the elevator pitch statement. So these kinds of messages, especially to politicians who have to act, does not require you to come and say too much. And so for me, 5 minutes was quite enough. Maybe although you also have to show some infographics and all that. But always bear at the back of your mind that anytime you have an opportunity to meet a politician or somebody who is into policy making or a major decision maker, you are not going to have the whole time. Okay, you are going to have the shortest possible time to interact. So you always have to package your messages in such a way that it can be delivered at, very short notice and at a short time, relatively very short time. So you have to think about that in packaging your message. Before I take my seat, I was also told that one of the teams could not present today with us because of ailment of one of their team members. So we only wish that team member a speedy recovery and all the best, so that they can also join in our celebrations. But I was thinking, if at that point they had all their packages and their story ready, maybe they could have allowed somebody to present it on their behalf. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think all in all it has been a very, very interesting and exciting morning. I cannot wait to hear from the judges the best thing, but as far as I'm concerned, you all did very well. And please, let's once again give them one more round of applause. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Provost of the College of Education, Professor Ni Ade Kujo. I hope you are all excited to hear from our judges. You don't look excited at all. Let's see the excitement on your faces. Before I invite the spokesperson for the judges, I would like to acknowledge some officials we have with us. We have in our midst Professor Delali Dovi, who is the PI of the SOCHI Climathon project. Prof, can we see you, please? Thank you. We also have Mr. Joseph Odron Kansa, College Registrar of the College of Education. Initially, he was mentioned, but I think he stepped out. Professor Chris Gordon, the founding director of the Institute of Environment and Sanitation Studies. He was here with us, but he stepped out. And there has been a team behind all that we are witnessing today. They have really worked hard. They've done a yeoman's job to bring us this far. A committee chaired by Professor Eric Afodadzi. Can we see you, Prof? Prof. Afodadzi. That's the committee chair. And all other committee members here present, we really acknowledge your hard work. We are very grateful for helping us to pull through this innovative program. Thank you. At this point, it's my singular honor to invite Professor Jamal Dean Abdullahi, the spokesperson for the judges, to do his presentation. Let's keep clapping until we take the program.
Thank you very much. I must say all the teams have done extremely well. Given the short period you had to put all this together, we had the opportunity to go to your work over the night, and then we climaxed it with your presentation this morning. And it's wonderful to see the kind of work you all put together. I didn't know we had such brilliant students among us. But kudos to you. And it was really very competitive. We assess your work on 5 major areas. The first one was relevant to the SOCHI Climate program, followed by innovation and creativity of your work. Then design and layout, customization and flexibility of your solution, and then your presentation. Now, each of these components were weighted. So for relevance, it's weighted 10%. Innovation is 30%. Design and layout is 30%. Customization and flexibility is 5%. And your presentation and communication is 25%. So, on this note, I'm coming to announce the cumulated results. So, in all, you are scored out of 10. The weighted result is out of 10. We have Team X scoring 5.08 out of 10. Team Brokod scored 5.15 out of 10. You can see how the competition is keen. Insight, 5.35 out of 10. Climate Crusaders, 5.85 out of 10. Health Connect, 6.52 out of 10. Okay, so on this note, Climate Connect led the day. Followed by Climate Crusaders. So Health Connect led the day, followed by Climate Crusaders, followed by Team Insights, Brokod, and then followed by IX. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdullahi. We'll be doing the presentation soon. We will soon see the winners, and we'll be doing the presentation soon. We will start the presentations. We have a number of presentations to do this afternoon, and we are going to start with the mentors. My co-MC, kindly take us through the mentors, and then they will take their presentations, and then we'll narrow down to the competitors.
Right, thank you very much. So, since we had Stanbic Bank and then MTN Ghana supporting us or being mentors, we would like to give the award collectively to them. So I would like to call upon a representative from the Stanbic Bank mentors to come for their awards. Please let's welcome Himasi Kamse. Please let's welcome Himasi Kamse.
Right, I would invite Prof. Dazi to do as the honors of giving the award. Please, let's continue to clap for him. Oh, please, the whole team kindly join us on stage. Oh, please, let's clap for them as they come in. They did a phenomenal job coaching our participants and then them giving us this wonderful product that they gave us. Please, let's continue to welcome them as they come on stage. Thank you very much. So please, the team from MTN, please get ready as you will be called next. Thank you very, very much. Right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support. I'd like to call upon the team from MTN to also come up for their awards. Please, let's give it up for him as he comes in. Please, all team mentors from MTN, please join us on stage. I would also like to call Dr. Issa Seidu, who is a mentor as well from the Department of Statistics. He did so well in helping us with the statistical parts and the analytics as well. Please, let's give him a round of applause as he comes. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Okay, so we would also like to present some awards to our judges as well, because we also tired them up with sending our products very, very early in the morning for them to look at it as well. So we would like to, in no particular order, I would invite Mr. Nkansa, the college secretary, to do us the honor of presenting the awards. Please, let's give it up for him as he comes. Please, let's continue to welcome him till he gets to the stage. Okay, so I would like to call, in no particular order, Mr. Solomon Hayford, who is the head of MML, Business Intelligence and Analytics, MTN Ghana. Please, let's welcome him. I would also call upon Mr. Joseph Kobena Bempong, who is the head of data and analytics at Stanbic Bank Ghana. Please, let's welcome him. Last but not least, Dr. Jamaldeen Abdullahi, who is the senior lecturer at the Computer Science Department, University of Ghana. Thank you very much. Right, so we would, before we mention the names of our winners, we have certificates for our participants as well. So we would like to just call upon them for them to receive their certificates. All right, sorry, please, Mr. Nkansa, please come back to us. We would like to do the honor of giving the certificates to the participants. So when I call your name, you just come in. So Ibrahim Aziz, Ohene Ejekum Ado Ejekum, Joseph Ano, please come in that order. Etonam Bodu, Isaac Ose, please let's give it up for them as they come. So Ibrahim Aziz, please go. Please let's clap for him. They've done so well. They've done so well. We have Joseph Ano. Joseph, is Joseph with us? Then we have Ohene Ejekun. Please let's give it up for Ohene Ejekun. Then we have Etonam Padu, Isaac Osei, a champon Befi Adomako, David Tete, Perry Ousu a champon, Elvis Kafui Goku, please let's give it up for them. Okay, Caleb Ousu Kweku Echampon. Please welcome Caleb. We have Louise Liron Badu as well. Louise. Joshua Enchi. Richmond Alexander Kwe. Princess Edutechi. Okay, I would like to call Mr. Solomon Hayford to help us continue with the awards as well. Please let's welcome Mr. Hayford. Thank you, guys. Then I have Elizabeth Owusu. Francisca Zunki. Please let's welcome Francisca. Sandra Asari. Sandra Kofi. Let's welcome them. Beautiful ladies taking time to participate in this. That's wonderful. Please let's give them a round of applause again. Then we have Simon Peter Osafo Dewu Ekwea Amankwa Ochre. All right, I would call upon Mr. Bimpong to help us continue with the awards. Then we have Noble Setofio
Noble. Then we have Peter Kobena Edu, Alex Abuaji Ofori. Alex Abuaji Ofori, Samuel Ampabing, Joanne Siao Abuaji, and Edwin Kumado. Edwin here. Samuel Ampabing, Hans Siao Abuaji. Please let's welcome them. Justice Viavuzi. Sorry if I got the name wrong. Please let's welcome Justice. Then we have Gabriel Abobli. Please let's welcome Gabriel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hayford, and thank you very much, Abena, and all those who assisted us to do the presentations. Before we do the presentation to our winners, we will take our last musical interlude to be performed by the Ghana Dance Ensemble. Ghana Dance Ensemble. Ghana Dance Ensemble has really done well today. Let's acknowledge them once more. Okay. We have been told a lot, including the performances of our teams. Dr. Jamal Dean was here and he informed us of what everybody, all the team members acquired at the end of the competition. In order not to waste time, I'll start from the second runner-up, the third runner-up. The second runner-up, to be precise. That's the people who took the third position. At the end of the competition, they came up with 5.35 out of 10. 5.35 out of a total of 10. And they are taking home 5,000 Ghana cedis. The first runner-up, as we were told, made a total mark of 5.85, forgive me, 5.85 out of 10. And the team is taking away 7,000 Ghana cedis. And for our first, or the winners of the competition, those who took the first position, they made a total mark of 6.52, and they will be going home with 10,000 Ghana cedis. Without much ado, I will invite Professor Afodadzi to kindly come up. And members, and those who took the third position, that's Insight, members of Insight, please come up for your prize. Some of you could stand on the other side. Thank you. Don't move down yet. Please wait. Please wait here for us. We have Mr. Usuansa in the house. Mr. Usuansa, please let's acknowledge him as he comes. Mr. Usuansa is a member of the steering committee, and we invite him to do the presentation to Climate Crusaders, who took the second position, the first runner-up. keep clapping for them. It's not an easy work at all that they have done. They have done a lot of studying and putting data together to come here and share with us. So let's keep acknowledging them. The rest of you will join them. The platform party, the judges, everybody, please join them. And those down, the mentors. Mr. Usuansa, please join us. College secretary, your seat is here. You decided to sit there. College registrar, to be precise. We will do some group photographs here and also move to the banner. But we also have another logo board outside, and so we'll be doing some more group photographs outside. Thank you very much. Thank you. We are so grateful to you. And to you all who joined us to observe this very important program, we are very grateful. It's very innovative, and we believe we're going to continue in the years ahead. So all too soon, we've come to the end of the program. We all deserve a round of applause, both team members and participants. We thank you again and again. As I mentioned earlier, we have another logo board outside, and we invite everybody to take pictures there. We'll do some more group photographs when we step out. But we invite all those who participated in this program, who joined us, to take pictures for their records. Now, for the order of refreshments, all the team members and students are to remain seated. You'll be sorted out here in the hall. The ushers will attend to you. For our senior members and special guests, our partners, the ushers will see to us when we step out of the hall. Once more, we thank you very, very much. At this point, I invite my co-MC to do us the honors by offering the closing prayer.
Thank you very much. Please let's bow down our heads for a short prayer. Father, we thank you this afternoon for such a wonderful occasion as this. We pray thanking you for the success we've achieved so far. We pray that whatever that we've started, may it go far and may it make impact and waves in the lives of our young people. We pray that may you be with us as we are going back, and in everything we give praise and honor unto your name. In the name of Jesus, we've prayed with thanksgiving. Amen. Amen. Thank you very, very much for your presence. Thank you very much. Please, as the instruction was given, there will be refreshments brought in. So please remain in your seats whilst we do this exercise. Thank you very much once again.